What's up, guys? Triple C here. Welcome to my last stunt test of the first part of the Cunning stunt release. I'm testing all the new supercars on their stunt readiness as Rockstar advertised it. I did it with the Finance and Felony too. Basically, all cars failed up to now, unless the ETR1, it did some of the stunts, like half of them, and half of them it couldn't do them at all. So basically, none of these cars can compete with an Osiris T20 Zentorno yet, because these cars do all of these stunts consistently. We're not testing top speeds or anything. We're just testing them on different types of stunts, on wall rides, on spirals, on stuff like that. Generic stuff. Nothing that's specifically dummy-proof built for anything. So stuff that a stunt-ready vehicle should be able to get through easily. I got all the links to all the other stunt tests down there in the description. So if you want to see how a specific vehicle from this DLC or from the Finance Felony did, just check out the links down there in the description. Basically, Reaper, epic fail. FMJ, epic fail. X80 Proto, epic fail. 811, epic fail. The 7B, the RE7B here, epic fail. Couldn't do anything basically. The ETR1, like I said, did half of the stunts, half of the other stunts it couldn't do. And now the last one up is the TYRUS. We're going to test this one today on all kinds of generic stunts. I'll quickly explain how we're doing this. If you didn't watch the previous videos, we're not testing them on the new Rockstar track races which they put out, or the stunt races, because there's nothing you can test or compare there. You know, it's just all generic, these tubes or huge loops which you can't fall off, so there's nothing I can compare in there. That's why I'm testing it on the stunts that we know and have been building for the last 3 years, on spirals and wall rides and stuff like that. So yeah, one more thing: if the outcome is not what you would have wished or hoped for, please don't take it personal. I myself personally do not care what the outcome is. I will just do a quick test and give you my factual findings. I don't have a stake in this. I'm not emotionally invested. I don't want a vehicle to fail or to pass. I'll just give it my neutral, unbiased opinion on it, just comparing it with a benchmark, basically, to give you the most factual finding on what cars are the most consistent in stunts. And that's also what we're looking for. We're looking for cars that are consistent and reliable. It's not about can you get through it with so many tries or experimenting with first person or whatever. We want to have a consistent car that will just consistently get through the stunt. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right in it and start out with horizontal wall rides. Let's go. Alright, first up, horizontal wall rides, container wall rides. Like I explained in the previous videos, the issue is not will it get through the wall ride, because any car will get through a wall ride. We will definitely make the wall ride. You can do it in a Panto, in what car, whatever. We're looking at different stuff here. How does it bounce off the dummy proofing? Does it have that traction in the wall? Is it sensitive, or is it rather steady in the steering? What's the steering style? How is your camera view? Does the camera zoom in on the car? Do you lose your view? That's the type of stuff we're going to be testing. So let's go and see how this one does. By the way, I've never wall ridden this car yet, so this might be interesting. From all the cars that we tested, steady. Camera is zooming in a bit, which is not a very good thing. It was a bit jumpy there. For my personal taste, I like the cars that are rather steady and not as sensitive and jumpy. We had that with the RE7B. It was extremely sensitive, but that's a personal preference, so that's just whatever you desire, you know. Like, a lot of people like that sensitive steering. Other people don't like it. This one's rather steady. It's not as sensitive. Let's see with the dummy proofing. Yeah, the car went up the dummy proofing, which is not a good thing. It should just be guided by it. But yeah, it's holding a real steady line. With the camera, we might get... Oh shit, no, I fell off last second. The camera was zooming in, which it really shouldn't do on a horizontal wall ride. The camera should stay steady. So that's a telltale sign that we might get problems on horizontal wall rides. But so far so good. I'm having no problems on the wall ride. Obviously, I'm just driving it for the first... I've never wall ridden this car, you know. This is also an issue to get used to the steering of a car. So obviously, me never having been wall riding this car, I first have to learn it and get used to it. But like, from all the other factors we're looking at, and I am foreseeing some problems for other wall rides, basically. But just on a horizontal wall ride, you will get through. The camera is a bit confusing when it jumps in on the car. There at the end, what you also saw, all of a sudden we saw the backside of the car. That is not a good thing. But otherwise, no real problem there. Like in a racing situation, I would get this through a wall ride consistently, no problem. All right. Next up, we got an ascending wall ride again. Let's see how this one does here. So basically we're going up in the sky, and that has like none of the other cars, Finance, Felony, Cunning, Stunts, none of them passed this. All failed. Ah, yeah. We're blind. Oh, that failed. I gotta say, from the 3 Cunning Stunts, was catastrophic and just immediately lost power. Wouldn't even have had the power to get up there probably. The ETR1 also lost quite some power, and the camera view messed up too. This one keeps the most power, but it also loses power. Osiris, T20s, and Torno do not lose power in this. Yeah, and I'm totally blind. So yeah, no. Unfortunately, a fail, not stunt ready in the sense that it can do like these new era stunts that we've been building. And this is just a simple wall ride, which is ascending. Couldn't do it, unfortunately. We lost our camera view. Just funny, it sounds like the X80 Proto a bit, and it's exactly what happened with the X80 Proto also on the wall from the view. So yeah, fail. Next up, we got a barge spiral to overhead wall ride to spiraling down again into a wall ride. Going from the respawn here with the big backside of the barges, so an easy stunt, very generic stuff. Every car failed this from the new DLC cars, and this one also. We're going blind, we're just guessing where we are. Unfortunately, it didn't keep T20s and Torno. So unfortunately, a fail again. Camera view messed up totally. We're driving blind, we don't see where we are. I can only basically guess where I am. Okay, yeah, through guessing, and you know, like obviously there's the argument, oh, why don't you do it first person? I mean, this is a generic stunt. I could have surely quickly switched to first person, but what we're doing here is we're comparing. This is a we're using other cars as a benchmark. So T20, Osiris, and Torno, you do not have to change your camera view. This is a very large, big spiral, very easy stuff. So if you would switch to first person quickly, you would get through there. Start doing hard stunts, you know, tight spirals, tight wall rides. You can't go in first person there. You cannot complete them in first person. Ask any good stunt racer on this game if he plays hard wall rides or spirals in first person. I can guarantee you the answer is no. Ask any pure racer, any good pure racer in this game if he plays in first person. First person is a nice gimmick basically, but it's not something that helps you in racing. It does the exact opposite. You don't see what your car is doing, you don't see your whole car, you don't see the back of your car, you have no sense of where you are, you have no situational awareness, you have no I mean, that whole vision is so confined to that tunnel vision. Basically stunts, you cannot do stunts in first person. Like a big barge spiral like this, okay, you might quickly get through it, but like I said, we're benchmarking, we're comparing it to other vehicles that do work. This one did not, it lost its view evidently, so unfortunately fail. Okay, next up again, King JMK loop. Every car made this except the X80 Proto. This is a very generic stunt, it should do it. I noticed some similarities to the X80 Proto, so this should be interesting, but it should actually do this. Let's test it out. Yeah, it's stuck. Okay. No problem there. As expected, it made it. And like I said, this is a very generic stunt. Any car will do this. Actually, only one supercar in the entire game does not do this. It's the X80 Proto. So past this one. Alright, next up, container spirals. Let's see how it does on this one. Basically, also important thing that we're looking at, that we checked out with the other cars, is how does it do at low speeds. Come on, can I get it? Because you have to really aim for the checkpoints now. They broke them with the Cunning Stunts DLC. If you don't go directly through them, they will not register. It used to be that when you went over them, they would still register. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go in at a low speed and see if it gets that initial traction. Jump pretty harshly there, but that's also partially because of the build. The 3 vertical containers there in the beginning. But definitely from the 3 new cars... Ah, shit. From the 3 new cars, it definitely did there at a slow. Getting going quick, once you start to accelerate it, it starts to drive. The wheels do spin, but on the other ones it's much worse, you know, they're basically at a standstill the first second before they really start to roll. And like on stuff like this, when you enter slow, or you need several tries, you want the car to have that quick initial acceleration to get the grip on the spiral it needs. Yeah, there, that was too slow, for example. So yeah, but we just saw if you enter it with a bit more speed, like expected, I mean, you could even do stuff like this in a Banshee at the correct speed. But here also it was slow and it was struggling to get that grip. But yeah, basically, if you know your lines, oh, I got the checkpoint. Same thing as with the other, you'll get through. To these types of stunts, there are definitely better options like the Zentorno or the Osiris. My favorite for this Zentorno, because it just has that raw, quick acceleration. It has 4-wheel drive. It will immediately cling to the spiral, it'll have the grip and just get up. It will climb the spiral at low speeds. Also, what I did notice here, the camera view always messing up when you're on top. That's like, yeah, I see how we're basically blind for a second there. So yeah, like all the other ones, it did get through. Definitely better options, but it did make it. So I'll say we'll give it a pass here, definitely. Okay, next up, crab slide, make or break. If this is a stunt-ready vehicle as advertised, pedestrian, then I expect it to make a crab slide, because that's just a big part of the stunning, of the whole stunning thing. Crab slides have just become part of the game, part of new era stunts. So a stunt-ready vehicle should be able to do a crab slide. Every vehicle failed up to now, except for the, it goes up the dummy proofing, which is not a good thing. No, it goes on its wheels. Epic fail. So yeah, from cars we got 80, we got the 811, we got the RE7B, we got the ETR1, and we got the TYRUS. From all these cars, the only one which will make this new era stunt is the ETR1. All other cars fail on this, so in my opinion, this doesn't qualify as stunt ready. Because, like, one thing you gotta remember, and I said this in previous videos, I can't wait till the creators get their hands on these new props. And one thing I can guarantee you, the creators will not just build the generic stuff you see in the Rockstar races now. We're looking way beyond the obvious possibility of just putting a tube around Maze Bank or just putting a giant loop somewhere there, you know? We're obviously looking at different stuff we're going to be building with this. And crab slides are part of the game. They will be incorporated in the... will be incorporated once we get our hands on the new props. All these stunt-ready, so-called stunt-ready vehicles cannot do it, except the ETR1. So, epic fail. It's really a pity, but it did live up to the thing that was advertised and promised. These are basic new era stunts, which a stunt-ready vehicle should be able to do. This one, the TYRUS, and all the other ones except the ETR1 cannot do it. Fail. Right, last test again, ultimate test, make or break, even though there's not much to be saved again because it did fail on all the stuff consistently already. Freaky League's huge loop racing number 3, a gigantic loop which it has to get around. The question is now, will we keep that power, that raw energy to just get up there? Let's see. No. No way, Jose. Couldn't do it. Epic fail. So far, should I give it one more go? Yeah, come on. I won the respawn there, so obviously from like Osiris T20s and Torno get it. This one obviously didn't get it, so we can hypothetically play around and say, what if Freak League went in this race and put the checkpoint further back? But I mean, it's just like we're benchmarking, like I said, we're comparing it to other vehicles. These were advertised as stunt-ready vehicles, and they basically can't do all the things that the Osiris T20s and Torno can do, which they should if they're advertised as stunt-ready vehicles. So, really a pity. Because people had high expectations and high hopes, you know? Like, everybody was looking forward to these new cars. No, no chance. It cannot do it. There's absolutely no chance it's getting through. So yeah, this one, epic fail also. We can quickly sum it up again. Wall rides, it did get through. Wasn't the best, but no issues, you would get through in a racing situation. Ascending wall rides, disaster, you completely lose your view. Then we had the barge spirals in the overhead part, completely lose your view, epic fail. King JMK loop, as expected, did it because like the only car that didn't make it was the X80 Proto. Container spirals, you'll get it through it if you're a good racer. If you know about stunt racing, you'll definitely get it through container spirals. You do lose your view, but container spirals are traditionally smaller, and the losing your view part mostly appears when you're upside down. So on a container spiral, that upside down part is so brief that it doesn't really play into this that much. Let's see, what do we have after that? We had the crab slide, epic fail. Like I said before, expect people to continue off where we stopped with the stunt races, like those types of stunts, building flips onto wall rides, spirally things, crab slides, all that kind of stuff. Expect that to be incorporated in the new creator once we get access to all these props. These cars don't do it. Like, they're just not stunt ready. Like, all cars basically failed, except for the ETR1. It partially passed. It did some of the stuff, but like I said, if it's advertised as stunt-ready vehicle, it should be stunt-ready. And we were really hoping for cars that can compete with the top three cars, which are the Osiris, the T20, and Zentorno. But all these stunt-ready vehicles, I mean, from Finance and Felony, those were rather racing cars. They couldn't compete anyways. But from this Cunning Stunts update, all the stunt-ready vehicles, none of them can compete with the Osiris T20 and Zentorno. And it's a real pity. It's really a pity because if it's advertised as stunt-ready vehicle, you'd expect them to be able to do it. Like, one more thing, I said that in the ETR stunt test also. What happened with these vehicles? Because they're so unbelievably quick on the track, they completely broke the supercar class. That's also what the pure racing community is saying. They broke the supercar class in the sense that it's not balanced anymore. It's completely unbalanced. If you're speaking in terms of pure racing, if you do not own one of these three new supercars, you're not going to compete with the other people. Now, in stunt racing, I also said this in the last test, it's a different story because there's actually a trade-off you have to make, because these three new supercars are just so dominant on the track that it's always a trade-off. You're going to think, okay, am I going to take one of these new three new supercars just to be quick on the track, or will I go with a car that's consistent with the stunt and reliable? And I mean, that's always a tough decision you got to make. Definitely on races which you know you'll be in a good position to make that call. But if it's a race which you don't know and you're just playing a playlist with some people, you're not going to know that in advance. So basically you can't really take these cars on these races because you're always going to run into stuff which they will just fail on because they're not designed for it. So yeah, they're definitely not designed for the stunning as we know it. with the new game mode that Rockstar added, that Cunning Stunts game mode, they have different physics in there, and that whole game mode is basically designed in a way that it's very, very hard to fail a stunt. You know, there's different physics, and you drive through a tube. Actually, nothing can really happen there to you. These roads you drive on. And then you got these big loops and stuff and big jumps and speed boosts. There's nothing that you can really fail on, in a sense that there's nothing where there's real skill required. You know, there's nothing that you got to say, oh, this is tricky, I got to learn how to do this. And then you get yourself into it, and after some time you master it and you become good at it. That's not really in that game mode yet, because we do not have access to these props yet. Once we do have access, we will definitely be building stuff like that. But apart from that, I really think it's a pity that these cars can't do all the stunts like we know them. And I also got to say, like, with how dominant they are in the just from a pure racing perspective, it broke the class. Like, I completely agree with that, because there's nothing wrong with getting better cars. You know, you can't imagine how happy we were when we got the Osiris and the T20, because these were just like so much better than the other cars, and we were getting new records, and you know, like new boundaries were being pushed. But it's got to stay fair at some point. You know, like what these cars have, for example. You do not really have to control the car in a turn. You can just take the turn full speed and just steer. It's like magnetically attached to the track, which is just, you know, what's the point in trying to get better at racing if you don't have to do anything? You know, that's also part of what makes this game so interesting and so challenging, and what ensures the longevity of why we're still playing this after 3 years, because after 3 years we're still improving our skills and still getting better, and now this is just completely taken that part out. You know, like, I had one really good racer from our GCCC crew. He's a very good racer. He's always in the top spots. He commented on one of my other stunt tests in the comment section. He was like really disappointed, because he said, like, I've been practicing for 3 years to get really good at racing. Now it's all for nothing because I don't have to do anything anymore and anybody can just do this. So that's a pity, you know. Like, I would have wished that they would have implemented it in another way, you know, like that the cars would still be dominant or much better than the other ones, but that there's still skill required to get it through a turn good, you know. But yeah, anyways, guys, that's my I wouldn't call it rant, you know. It's just an opinion. Do with it what you want. Don't take it personal, because like I said, we were only testing the stunts here. Unfortunately, they did not live up to the promise, to what was advertised, and they evidently failed, except for the ETR1, which on half of the stunts it did a good job, and on the other half it also epically failed. So unfortunately, none of the new cars can touch the Osiris T20s and Torno in terms of stunning. Still, the best vehicles for stunning are Osiris and Torno T20. If you're looking for reliability and consistency, those are your 3 top picks: Osiris, T20s, and Torno. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll definitely be testing out the other cars, and I really do hope that we get some good stunt-ready vehicles that can really compete with those. That would really be awesome. I'll definitely test all the new vehicles, so stay tuned for that. Other stunt tests are down there in the description if you want to see how the other cars did on the stunt test. Definitely go check those out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.